Good morning, everybody. Orange A here with another AFK Journey video, and today we're going to do a tier list for PvP in AFK Journey focused on Arena. Now, before we jump into this, I do want to give the disclaimer that right now the top of Arena is for people who spent money in the game. Your Omega Whales are running for that top spot. On my guild, it's people in the Mads guild who just have, basically most of their relevant roster at Mythic Plus. Me, as a medium-sized whale, maybe I would like to consider myself a small whale, but I'm probably a medium-sized whale. I have several characters at Mythic Plus, Vala being my strongest PvP character, and with my one team comp, I've been able to climb into 5th place at the end of this day. So that gives me the advantage of, one, seeing what people are actually running at the top of this game myself, not seeing it through the lens of another website's tier list or something like that. I have watched all the other videos, I've looked at all the other websites, but I've also played against these team comps at the highest level that I can on my server. So I not only know what they're running, I have some idea of how to beat them, which I think helps a few characters kind of ascend in power in my mind. So we're going to go through it. Now, before we dive into the tier list part of this, let me show you real quick what these top tier teams look like. So here's Aurora, the 3rd ranked player on my server. Here's a look at what that person is running. Oh, look, it's Iron. He's in about all of these comps. There's Thorin, there's what's her name? Carolina. There's South Carolina right there, chilling behind Thorin. She is super meta. There's Odie and there's Raynor. You're going to see a lot of these units, especially Iron and AoE crowd control type characters. So I'm not going to fight this person. They are significantly north of me in power. I'm at 525k and they're at 718. Okay, if I was to hit refresh right here, here's the number 1 ranked person, Xanath. Rank 1. What is the rank 1 player on our server running right now? Oh, would you look at that? It's Raynor, it's Carolina, no Iron in this one, which some people might be surprised by. We've got Jump Bro Igor right there. We got Vala, who I think is, I'm not going to say criminally underrated by a lot of other people in their tier list, but I think because she was the first banner character, people kind of disregarded her. Maybe that comes from playing other gacha games where your first banner character is good, but then the next banner character is even better. Guys, Vala's insane in PvP. She is insane in PvP. So, and then we see the Carolina, front line with the tank right there. That is all over the top of this game. And we're going to talk about a lot of those characters that you've just seen. So let's go ahead and let's put the tier list on the screen here. We're going to go ahead and pop that up. I've already put the probably great tier together, which these again are those characters you have to stargaze for that I just haven't seen myself. I get the theory crafting that's happening on other websites. I get when people are making videos and they talk about, hey, this character does this. You haven't seen it in the live game, probably, unless there's some super whale on your server that has one of these characters max ranked, but I have not seen it. So I'm going to say they're probably great because of how hard and rare and impossible feeling they are to max out, whereas Raynor's about the only one of those stargazing characters that many of us have seen, so I will include him in this list. The bad tier, I'm not even going to go into these characters at all. Some of them, like Kruger, are great in other content like Dream Realm, but really suck in PvP. Our favorite fire mage right here, insane in her own comp in honor duels, terrible in Arena. And so that's how I feel about all these characters. And then for some reason I downloaded Atlanta's character picture twice. She's double bad. Okay, the B tier. These are characters that I think are passable in PvP. If you are running one of these characters in your comp, it's fine. It's fine. You better have meta characters around them if your plan is to win a bunch of fights and go on a winning streak. But if you're throwing a Smokey in there because you've heavily invested on him in your account and you just kind of he's your option, Smokey's going to do work for you. The B tier is often dumped on in tier lists by people who are B tier, this character's good. I am acknowledging that they are good. I am just saying that none of these characters right here currently define the meta. Even Brutus, who is a character I use a ton, is very niche in Arena. He kind of counters some comps that are looking to just quickly pick somebody off by delaying them a little bit, serving much of the same, much of the same function he serves in pushing higher level content in PvE. Yeah, that's how I feel about all of these characters right here. They're all pretty good. You can get away with playing some of them. I do give credit to characters with crowd control. I think anybody who can like tank and do crowd control, or DPS and do crowd control, or tank DPS and do crowd control have some relevancy in PvP. And I think characters like Tamisia right here could someday be very good, but maybe there's just not the perfect team comp for them yet, or no one's discovered it yet. So that's how I feel about the B tier characters. Now let's talk about the top of the meta and why they're there. And I'm going to start with like the #1 meta comp in the game, and I call it the Iron comp, but it's actually kind of becoming the Carolina comp in a weird way, where you're seeing, notice the rank 1 person was playing Carolina but not Iron. Is that a fluke? I don't know. And that's just their defense. They're probably playing Iron on offense, depending, I don't know what they're doing, but it's the Iron comp, I'm going to call that. So these first characters I'm going to rank are members of that, and I think I'm ranking them this highly because of how great they synergize in this one comp, and how really not that hard it is to pull off, but I'll talk about countering it here in a minute. Okay, we have Iron. He is the core to this. When you unlock his unique weapon, he gets to start the fight by like crowd controlling AoE damage and like sucking everybody into the middle, setting up the wombo combo for the rest of his team to drop big AoEs, big crowd control spells. And oftentimes when you fight this comp, by the time you've recovered from their opening volley, if you even live through it, you are so far behind that they just run you over, because the rest of the characters are good outside of the wombo combo. They just get to start the fight with it, and it's kind of busted. So I think that is your top of the meta right now, the Iron like Wilder wombo combo team. So I'm going to go through those units. They're not all top of the line. Parisa is an A rank unit, not an S rank unit. She serves her purpose in this group. Like, he sucks them all together. She's dropping her flowers out there. Her flowers are blowing up. She's blowing people off the map, and she's pretty good at that. And then even if you weren't running the meta team, I do think she's a little bit undervalued by other people. I think she's an A rank character in several different variations of this comp, but she's not one of the core members. Then we get to Damien. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Damien's like Aaron, wherever the heck you want to say his name, is the foundational piece for a lot of these comps. Damien is just annoying as heck, man. Damien's like sending his little gadgets out there all fight. Because like, here's the deal with Damien. You can't target Damien. He's like, he removes himself from the fight, and then he's just making toys, and he's shipping his toys out into the battle. So you killed one of Damien's toys, and now he's sending out another one. This guy is like annoying to fight against, which is going to be a theme for another jumpy character on this list later. But he's also a member. He's like a faction bonus member of the current top meta comp. So his annoyingness, his crowd control, his healing, he does some damage. He is one of the best PvP characters in the game. He's near the top of the meta right now. And I'll tell you what, when I started this game, before I ever looked at a tier list or anything, I wouldn't have bet on that, but you see him all the time, so he's in the S tier in my opinion. Granny is an A tier character. You don't see her even in the like Wilder wombo combo comps at the top, but she would be the replacement to Thorin, who I'll just throw up here into S tier. Like, basically, if you have him, especially if you have him like, again, Mythic Plus, max duped out, he's gonna be the tank for these comps a lot of times. She's a substitute for that, and she does a really good job. Like, her ult with that big CC, that point blank on her is very powerful. Thorin's ult needs nerfed. Like, it does so much damage that in honor duels, it takes a 30% damage nerf. Like, they knocked the damage down 30% on that in the like free-to-play honor duel mode. So yeah, it hits like a truck. And so everybody groups together, with his ult, and they're all mushed up fighting him. And then he just like starts channeling his sword, and he's like, and he just drops like half the HP on your whole team, and he's your tank that comes back to life once. He's crazy good. He's definitely S tier. Okay, then we get to, what is it, Arden? This guy's name is Arden. Arden, similar, like he's down here for me. He really works, synergizes well with the crowd control that Aaron or Iron and these other characters make. Like, I have notes. I don't, he is borderline S tier, but he and Parisa, he's probably better than her. I'll put him towards the top of A tier with Parisa right after him. And you can see how like Wilder heavy the top end of this game is. I feel like kind of a feeling that I've had, and I don't know if I would like put this on paper or like make a bet on it. I feel like Mauler characters are really strong at the beginning of this game and really good for pushing PvE combat. And then these Wilder characters seem to be the top end of PvP right now, at least when you start factoring in like Mythic Plus. Now, again, another thing I want to mention right here to keep in mind, not everybody's mythic plusing everything yet. So as some of these characters that a lot of us just don't really see or think are any good get mythic plus and new characters come out, maybe there's some new synergies for them. But Wilder seems to be king of the jungle right now, except for old Carolina right here. Look, Carolina at mythic plus is absolutely busted. She does a ton of damage, she brings a ton of crowd control to your team, and she became a core part of this like Thorin Iron Carolina combo. In fact, when we were looking at the game, you often saw Thorin out front, and if you don't have your Thorin like duped out, he provides a like cover to the person behind him, where instead of them taking damage, he takes the damage for them, and some of their damage can heal him back up. So it's really like you put, that's your like main person, that's the person he's like really protecting, and she's up there, then she's like turning people into snowmen and, you know, doing her DPS, crowd controlling. She's nuts. So she's at the top of the meta right now, and like, I don't know, again, I didn't see that coming. I think she's a cool looking character, so I'm happy about it. I kind of wish I would have had her on my wish list from the beginning. I did not, and I really am liking PvP. Okay, so now that we're done with this like main meta team, let's move on, and I want to talk about Sylvina. Now, Sylvina, I'm going to drop her into A tier. A lot of people I've heard talking about, a lot of conversations I've had, have had her lower than this. She is one of the characters that can kind of counter this AoE damage team. One thing about the AoE team is you kind of need to, if you're all together, they're going to just destroy you. So characters that are good, starting like isolated from your main group, are great against this team. Now, Sylvina doesn't have the stats to be an S tier character, even though I like that you can just throw her somewhere in the map and then she's going to dive to the back line as you get her to like mythic plus, and she gets that shield when she jumps in. She's a great little distraction in the back line. And if your back line is like Parisa and Arden, well, she can go back there and work them over, especially if you have more backline access somewhere else. Then hopefully you've put like a couple tanks in a support or something like that, something that can survive the opening combo. In your front line, the opening combo hits them, they endure it. So Venus in the back working people over, maybe your Vala shooting people in the back, and you can kind of like beat this team like that. If you're close in power. Obviously, I'm not going to challenge somebody who's 200,000 power ahead of me and hope to have any success. But when I fought teams that were near my power, that's been a strategy I've used with some success. So don't sleep on Sylvina. She's pretty good. And there's still only 2 different factions in the S and A tier right now in PvP. Okay, next up, Hewin. She's a A rank. Like, again, her faction helps her if you're going for like max faction bonus with some of the best meta units in the game. She's also probably just the best pure healer if she's with Rowan. And let's just throw Rowan into A tier while we're at it, except let's throw Rowan into S tier. Rowan's bottom of S tier, if I'm being real, but he is S tier. These two together allow her to start getting her ult off, and if your plan is live through the enemy's opening combo, Hewin's a great character to be like, hey, we lived through it, and now everyone on the map, even if they're spread out, I'm gonna bring them back up in HP, reset this fight a little bit, and if they've already fired their biggest shot, then you got a chance to win. So I like her for that reason. And then Rowan, the first Lightbearer hero to make it on our tier. Look, ults are really important. Ults are really important. And people are making the mistake, I think, of not investing into Rowan. I'll probably make a whole video talking about this, but there's this idea that like you only get 1 copy of them, then you like move to other characters. Like, what other Lightbearer characters are you hoping to pull dupes of that you think is gonna like really help you push in the game? Get your Rowan duped out, in my opinion. Like, you get a ton of stats from duping characters out, and if you want your characters to, I don't know, live through an AoE attack, having dupes of them is really nice if you plan on using them in PvP. So if you plan on using Rowan in PvP, getting him to Mythic Plus, while not greatly changing his kit, does make him a better healer, which helps you again survive that little opening combo, and gives him a ton more stats, which again helps you survive that opening combo from the enemy team. So I think Rowan's S tier. Then he gets all your units ulting that are standing around him. Huge deal. Rowan, top tier character right now. Okay, Igor. I'm gonna put Igor like mid-rank A tier. Some people think that he is an S tier character because he's so dang annoying to fight against. And they're right that he's really annoying to fight against. I hate fighting against Igor. Nobody likes fighting against Igor, but his damage isn't as good as some of the other characters in the game. He does provide a lot of AoE, but if your sustain is still alive and Igor's kind of the damage dealer left on the enemy team, unless he's like really built out and stronger than you, I don't often find myself dying to an Igor, so I don't have him in the S tier, but his annoyingness mixed with his damage, mixed with like, just God, that's stupid Graves. I hate this character. If there was a character I could remove from the game, it would be Igor. I would delete him. Okay, Odie's next. Odie, S tier character. He is your, like, he does the things that people say he does. His execute is very useful. There's an H, basically, if you don't know, once you get him like duped out enough, he's out there, he's putting his poison on people like he is, like you know, and then you'll see this little red like triangle on a unit's HP bar. If their HP drops below that and he hits them with attack, it kills them. So none of this like clutch last second shield, none of this like, oh wait, my Huon's about to ult and heal everybody. Nope, he executed him. And that is very valuable. He gets a ton of his energy back, so he can immediately start like, again, ulting the next people, and he snowballs pretty well. I do think it's a little overblown, like how great he is. He suffers from being an A rank character, or you know, like not a top, not top tier. What is it like? Is it A rank, right? That's what the wording is. I forget. A level. Yeah, A rank character. So his stats don't hit like as high of numbers as the other people, so he can die. He's a little vulnerable, which keeps him a little bit lower on the list for me, but there we go. Okay, Cecia is next. Now, Cecia, I also think is an S rank character. She might not be part of this like super meta team, but once you get her duped out, oh my God, her summon friend is dropping like big AoE, CC, wombo damage things. She's somebody who like you put on your team. If you get her going, again, she needs Rowan, I feel like, to win in PvP. But okay, you live through the enemy's opening thing, you got your ults off, boom. Now they have to deal with maybe your like, you know, maybe your assassins in the back line. They got to deal with Vala shooting him, and now they have Mr. Giant Summon Friend in the back line, like AoE just swiping people to death. She's insane. She's not necessarily a part of the core meta team because her ult kind of takes a long time to cast. So you need a Rowan with her, you need her, and I say need. Her ult does feel devastatingly long to cast without a Rowan, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I have her Mythic Plus, and I don't know, man. She's wrecking people at Mythic Plus. So I definitely think she's S rank. Okay, Viperion is next, bottom of A tier. Like, I get it. I know why he's in some of these higher level teams. When he does his ult, it really does hurt. And the energy drain part of it is nice, I guess, but he's not a character I've ever had success using. And for as hyped as he's been, I haven't seen him in a ton of like the top tier comps. So I'm just going to put him at bottom of A. I believe the hype. I see what he's supposed to do on paper. I have trouble getting him to work myself. He is a character that I've duped out quite a bit. Just, you know, he just hasn't been my guy. Maybe once I get him fully duped out so he gets those extra stats, we will see. Okay, Coco is another like bottom of A rank character in my opinion. She takes a little bit of time to ramp up. Again, once she gets her like damage reduction going and her lifesteal going, I do think she is one of the better characters in this game. I just think she has better game modes than Arena, so I do think she's good. I'll put her at bottom of A. Vala is an S tier character. I'm going to put her up here near like Rowan and Odie. Again, keep in mind, this has been the easiest character to take all the way because she's been the first banner character that we've had. Still, the ability to, when you're playing Arena, this is something you have to consider. When you're playing Arena, you get to pick who you're attacking and you get to set up based on their defense. She has one of the better setup mechanics in this game where you can be like, okay, wait, if I put you here, you're like hitting this person. If I put you here, you're like hitting this person. I want to hit this person. Then I'm going to put my, gosh, what's her name? I'm going to put my Sylvana kind of over there. So she's jumping in with you and you two are kind of, you know, teaming up on somebody in the back line while my front line's tanking, and then hopefully we live through whatever they're doing and you guys have cleaned up at least that one character. Now Sylvana's being annoying, and her ult where she if you don't know, when she like kills, like you get her Mythic Plus, you get her unique weapon, she does resets. So she's killing, she's ulting, and then she drops aggro, heals herself, gains a massive like speed and haste buff, and so she's like dashing around the map like assassinate somebody, boop, boop, after I assassinate somebody, she's crazy good. She's not a part of the like necessarily like the big meta team, but I've beat the big meta teams with like a her and Sylvana combo before, or a her and Cecia combo. It is doable. You just have to position correctly. It's kind of hard. And then we have Raynor. Raynor is one of the better characters right now in the PvP game. Again, the ability to just mess up the unit's formation. He also gives a buff to the character that he's tossing around on your team if you're having him toss somebody around, where they heal themselves, and that's useful as well. Then his damage is high. He does a ton of stuff, and maybe, possibly, I want to just throw this out there. These Stargaze characters, I don't know if we really know what they are yet. I feel like he's good right now, partially because he has a unique mechanic that disrupts the enemy formation and gives one of your characters backline access. It's like he just chucks somebody into the back line, and that's really powerful. I wonder, and I don't have him max duped out, obviously, like I have not spent thousands of dollars on this game, but if you have, I wonder, like, I see on paper how he gets so much better, but I wonder in PvP how these probably great tier characters compare to him, and I'm kind of excited to find out someday. I'm sure I'll get to fight some of them pretty soon, but I don't know that I will ever have them duped out myself, because he's my first target, because it just seems like the obvious pick. Okay. So there you go, guys. I try to keep it to about 20 minutes. That, in my opinion, is the current arena tier list in this game. If you think somebody should be higher or lower, let me know. If you're new to the channel and you like this kind of stuff, I do have a PvE pushing tier list. I have a lot of other videos on the game. Please do like and subscribe to give me that, like, algorithm boost. And thank you for watching. Have a good day, everybody. I'll catch you next time. Peace.